How do you handle those emotional nosedives that creep in or come in when you least expect them? Oh boy, this is a big topic because I personally have been going through some very deep emotional turbulence, let's just say. And the turbulence seemingly is created from outside circumstances. And then when those outside circumstances come towards me, come at me, and I take them in, then all of a sudden they activate the inner world turbulence that I then find myself getting caught up in, swept up in. And then the next thing you know, I am taking an emotional bam nosedive. What I am so grateful for and have been reflecting on today is the fact that I have tools and I have people in my life that can help pull me out of that nosedive. Like I think about a pilot who, you've seen it in the movies, I'm sure, where the pilot is holding on to the steering wheel, if that's what it's called, and they're literally trying to take all their energy and pulling up on that to pull the plane out of a nosedive. And how many of you have felt like that, where something has happened in your life and you literally feel like you are plummeting and you go smack on the earth and you feel like you've just been pummeled? And when things happen in our lives and things come up, and even if we can point our finger at a person, a circumstance, a situation that we could blame or that we could say is the cause of that emotional pain. My question and query to myself recently is that true? Is whatever is being revealed to us, shown to us, actually the cause of the pain we're having? Yes and no. Spiritual leaders, people in that world may say, and I am a proponent of this to a point, is that any wound that you feel, any emotional disturbance that you feel, stems from something within you that is ready for healing. And that doesn't preclude the fact that something outside of you is also part of the story, part of that energetic dynamic, because without that person or situation, what's coming up for you couldn't be there. Okay? The same is true the flip side, particularly in relationships. So recently I had a little bit of a tense situation with my partner, and what was just a conversation about something rather small blew up into something way bigger than it really was, way bigger than it needed to be. And it created this ripple effect of tension, discomfort, and we were having a trouble finding a full resolution to it. And in full transparency, there's still some of that we're processing and working through and finding our way through that. And it's in those moments of discomfort, in those moments of the emotional turmoil, in those moments of the emotional nosedive that are the most beautiful golden opportunities for healing, for understanding, and for letting go of old stories, patterns, and habits that have been potentially hijacking us, kind of going along with the plane metaphor, from soaring to the greatest heights that we possibly could. And while spending some time with my mom, who I mentioned in an earlier video, is in a space of transitioning from the physical to the spiritual realm. She's hanging on, she's hanging in there, just happy to report. And spending time with my brother, there was some energetic dynamic that I noticed with both of them that I also carry, that I didn't realize was something that shows up in our family. And it wasn't just me that goes through that. I could see where in a story that my mother shared, how it's happening with me and my brother. I also see it in two of my sisters. I see it in my mom, and then a story she was telling about my grandparents. So there's there's an ancestral component to this too that we can't overlook, that we have to realize is that if we're feeling any sort of energy in our body that is not pleasurable for us, like really uncomfortable, those kinds of feelings that you want to run away from. You're willing to do whatever it can to get out of that feeling, to put some sort of like water on that fire in your belly that's really creating this intense level of discomfort. And what I've been playing and practicing with is putting my hands on my belly or wherever it is in my body that I feel it, and just allowing it space to be there. Asking that energy questions. And sometimes I'll receive an answer. I just trust whatever comes. And sometimes there's nothing, but I will put my hands there and I will breathe into that space and just imagine giving that energy a hug, and then opening my arms up and just giving it space to breathe. And inner child work, parenting your little girl or little boy within you, offering that safe space for them to feel whatever they need to feel is also another great way to move through that and pull yourself out of that emotional nosedive. I have a few select friends, soul family, cosmic family, that I will call or I will message and ask for support, or just ask for some love. Just, I'm going through something and I could really use some love. Please send it my way, whatever you got. And then journaling, allowing myself to be in nature, taking a nap, sometimes even, sometimes just a sweet treat, like one little piece of dark chocolate is really comforting and soothing. Sometimes, sometimes just being by yourself, sitting in your favorite chair or laying in your bed, hugging a pillow. I mean, all of these things are ways to comfort ourselves when we're going through this. There's always, 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 in my experience, I have found a nugget of gold in these moments, a piece of wisdom that you can take away, even if it's just like a little tiny piece. Because what I've also found is that when I'm going through different things like this, there's a little nugget of information that is important for me to know if I'm open to it. And that little nugget of information then connects with another nugget that maybe I learned a month ago or 2 months ago. And then all of those form together into this ball of wisdom that continues to be added to over time. And when I reflect back, or when something happens, I may notice that it's almost like this energetic that was inside of me now is kind of outside. It doesn't affect me as much, but I have the wisdom of that energy that's still present. But I don't necessarily have to take it on and feel it within my physical body. It's different. It's changed somehow. And it continues to grow. And that, I don't know, could it be this light of me is then pulled out through the alchemization of understanding, through the alchemization of space, through the alchemization of me caring for myself and not blaming other people or life circumstances or my perceived mistakes as being the problem, as being to blame, and just allowing myself to have the grace of screwing up, have the grace of crying or being angry or whatever it is, and being able to speak to what it is that I need, and being quiet at times when it's important that I be quiet, that I really take in information that's in front of me, and maybe take in what my partner is saying to me so that I can actually hear him and not be so clutching what I feel is right or true, instead of being open to what he's saying, because what is happening with him is equally valid. And how do we come to a middle way, a golden path, a place of compromise, but compromise that feels good. It's not where I feel like I'm sacrificing or he feels like he's sacrificing. It's, yes, I love you and I'm willing to do that for you and for us. And this may not be the final answer, but it's one that feels good right now. And maybe we have to have a revisit to that. Anyway, that's kind of my thought today about emotional turbulence that comes from issues with your partners or friends or family. Oh man, family is a big one. And just the finiteness of life to me is so clear. And it makes it the time that we have precious. I feel like that integrated knowing even more, like we all know this, but when you're witnessing a parent who's disappearing in front of you in a way, it brings it into a whole new focus. So I hope this is helpful to you in some way, because remember, we learn from one another. So please share with someone you think may benefit. Hopefully this was beneficial to you, and I will be back again soon with more insights and little nuggets of wisdom from my life experience for what it's worth. Ciao for now.